about. Like that's real shit right there. But
You know, this guy was a real person. Maybe some of that stuff was drawn from that. But then they were talking about how, maybe they were making fun of the Christians and bigging up this guy to make it look like, okay, the pagans, we have people that did the same stuff as Jesus. So like maybe making fun of the Christians with it. And then the other part, the video that I was playing that I stopped playing that I kind of want to go to now is they're talking about, was Jesus a magician? So they're making the argument of that, like, you know, because people don't like that idea, right? You know, at the beginning of the video, he talks about the mud. Let me play that part where he talks about Jesus using the mud to,
to help the guy's eyesight.
right.
Mhm.
So that's the thing. So when it's like, okay, so he's using mud, like, it's like, so okay, wait, that's not a miracle. That's him just, using
That
stuff
that
to,
that's him knowing that the clay, the minerals and all this stuff that's within
right,
this mud is gonna help clean out or draw out a lot of the infection that was in the guy's eye. And after he washes it out, then he'll be able to see. Um, yeah, you can call that magicianry or sorcery or pharmacopoeia.
right. That's exactly all those words is what he was using. And so what people don't like that though. Let me see. Let me see. I want to play a little bit of this. I don't want to bore y'all to death though.
In the Gospel of John, chapter 9, verse 6,
Am I
Jesus
sharing?
miraculously restores the sight of a blind man, but his method for enacting the miracle is a bit out of the ordinary. When Jesus had said this, he spat on the ground and made mud with the saliva and spread the mud on the man's eyes, saying to him, "Go wash in the pool of Siloam." Then the blind man went and washed and came back able to see. This is not the only instance of spit-based miracles in the Gospels. The Gospel of Mark, chapter 8, says that Jesus put saliva on a blind man's eyes in order to heal him. These miracle stories might conflict with our stereotypical image of what Jesus' miracles usually look like. Sometimes Jesus just speaks authoritatively and things happen, like when he calms a storm on the Sea of Galilee just by saying, "Peace, be still." Other times, a miracle happens by mere contact with Jesus. In the Gospel of Luke, a woman is healed when she touches his clothing in a busy crowd. Jesus notices it only because he felt the power had gone out from him. And still other times, Jesus conducts miracles remotely, without even being present, like in Matthew chapter 8, when Jesus heals a paralyzed servant of a Roman centurion without being in the same room. But spit and mud, that seems a bit unrefined. Or more precisely, Jesus uses stuff. He uses material to enact the miracle. He heals not just with the supernatural spoken word or the supernatural touch, but Jesus fashions a spit and mud substance, a poultice, if you will, if we want to use the medicinal terminology. Other early Christians were very comfortable depicting Jesus enacting miracles with ritual objects. In many depictions,
So what do you think about that so far? So it's
I
like
mean,
the thing with him having the staff too. That's another example of it. But as time went on, they start taking those parts of the image of Jesus away because it's like he's not magical. If he's like he's not a magician. He's like this is God's miracles. He's not there's no science to it basically.
well, and I mean I think that that's one of the biggest misconceptions about the quote unquote miracles, because I mean the definition of a miracle is, something that, you know, it's not really impossible because you're seeing it, but pretty much something that you never seen before. And this is like just because you don't understand it does not mean that it wasn't already understood.
Right, because
You
I don't
know,
believe in supernatural. There everything is everything. Everything is the universe. There's nothing that happens outside of that. So it's like, uh, it's there's an explanation basically. Like it's gonna make sense if you understood it. read a couple of comments, and I think I read some of these in the show last night. So forgive me for whoever watched the whole ass show yesterday, which was probably like no one, but whatever. Forgive me for covering this again. This comment right here, it says, my dad grew up in Fiji and used to tell stories about people who used to go to church on Sunday, but then go into forest at night to do magic. So of course, the way he would tell it gave me the impression that Fiji was chock full of evil wizards, though in reality, they were most likely just double dipping in religion, like in a lot of colonized lands. Still made my childhood feel very magical, thinking there's islands full of secretive spells casters.
Well,
So,
see,
yeah.
go ahead.
I was going to say that just illustrates what happens a lot of times when people get colonized. They still continue to follow their religions in private. In public, they go ahead and do the
Exactly.
colonized religion. But when they go home, they do their own thing that they were doing already before the colonizers came.
That's exactly my, the way I see it is because
Mata Baruku speaks.
Yeah. Just woke up.
He says,
France
The Christ-
Fanon,